Ayan. Okay, so maybe we can all turn our Bibles to Genesis chapter 29. Genesis chapter 29. Ayan, parang ano tayo.
All right.
So we're going to read beginning in verse 16. So, remember that what Jacob had done, right? I mean, he had been able to get the birthright, and then the not only the birthright, but even the blessing that was supposed to be for Esau, right? And then galit na galit na gusto si Esau. He had thought that when his father died, their father died, which was Isaac, then he would kill Jacob. So nalaman ni Rebecca yon, the mom, and told Jacob, flee, go to my brother's house, kay Laban, di ba? Doon siya pinapunta ni Rachel until such time na umupa yung galit ni Esau, right? So when you think of Jacob, this can be an open discussion here. You can open your mics, guys. What kind of personality or what kind of character stands out about Jacob sa inyo?
Ako, kuya, obedient siya sa magulang niya.
Obedient siya sa magulang niya, okay. Ano pa? Ano pang lumalabas na katangian na hindi masyado maganda? Na hindi maganda kay Jacob. Ano siya?
May deceit siya, kuya, may deceit.
Oh, deceitful, right? He's deceitful. So yun. So just remember what that is, and then we're gonna go and move forward.
Deceiver.
Oh, he's a deceiver, right? That's actually his name. So, Genesis chapter 29 in verse 16. So he goes over there. Laban, he was taken in. After which is talagang nakita niya si Rachel, na in love siya ngayon kay Rachel. At that time, in ancient times, hindi ka pwedeng ikasal unless magkaroon ka ng dowry. Wala naman siyang dowry. Wala si Jacob at that time. So what ang pwede niya lang maibigay kay Laban for Rachel was to work for him for 7 years. Okay. So let's begin that in verse 16. Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah had, kita niyo ba guys? Can you read it?
Yep, yeah.
Okay. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. So attracted to Jacob. No? Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, I'll work for you 7 years in return for your younger daughter, Rachel. Laban said, it's better that I give her to you than to some other man. Stay here with me. So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed only like only a few days to him because of his love for her. And that's what we can feel. Pagka in love talaga tayo, right? We're walking on air. We don't really care. parang hindi siya nagtatrabaho because he was doing this to win Rachel. Okay. Then Jacob said to Laban, give me my wife. My time is completed. I want to make love to her. Okay. So then in verse 22, it goes this way. So Laban brought together all the people of the place and gave a feast. But when evening came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob. And Jacob made love to her. And Laban gave his servant Zilpah to his daughter as her attendant. When morning came, there was Leah. So Jacob said to Laban, what is this you have done to me? I served you for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you deceived me? Laban replied, it is not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one. Finish this daughter's bridal week, then we will give you the younger one also in return for another 7 years of work. And Jacob did so. He finished the week with Leah, and then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife. Laban gave his servant Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her attendant. Jacob made love to Rachel also, and his love for Rachel was greater than his love for Leah. And he worked for Laban another 7 years. So, para siyang flashback, mga kapatid, right? With what Jacob had done to Esau, now the same deceitful thing was being done to him. Have you ever felt cheated in your life?
Yep.
Di ba? And what I get from here simply is what we reap is what we will sow. You know, what we reap, what rather what we sow is what we will reap, di ba? So kung ano yung tanim natin, yun din ang ating aanihin talaga mga kapatid. You know, and the thing that I real there's two things here. What we sow, we will reap. The second thing is what kind of response are we going to give or have when somebody has cheated us? In the same way as Laban, Laban had treated, rather Jacob had treated Esau, and then at the same time, now Laban has treated Jacob, right? Anong magiging response natin? Would it be a response of great hatred and anger? Would it be a response of surrender? Would it be a response that should be godly? So we are the ones that make the choices on in life in itself. But on the first point that I saw here is that we will reap what we sow. It gives me pause, mga kapatid. How am I living my life right now? Ano yung aanihin ko at the end of things? I am you know, whether it's with my business, whether it's with my marriage, whether it's with my family, what am I putting in that I will reap later on? As a Christian, what am I putting in that I will reap later on? I had this insight when I was talking to one of my kids yesterday. Sabi ko, kasi isa sa ginagawa ko is I really pray for my kids kung sino magiging asawa nila in the future, right? I want them to have someone that will love God above all so that they will be able to love them unconditionally. And so we had the talk kasi after the lesson of Lauren B yesterday. So we had a talk on that one. And then an insight just came to me. I said, wow, I told one of my daughters, I said, honey, here, you know what? I think it's really good that we're praying, you know, that you will have someday a husband that loves God unconditionally, or rather that loves God, and so that he too will love you unconditionally. Pero I'm also thinking that as God is preparing your future husband, yung parents din nun at saka yung taong yun is also praying to God, Lord, prepare for me a daughter or rather a woman who loves you and will also love me unconditionally. So I told my one of my daughters and said, honey, okay, as we're praying that, what should we be doing as a family, okay, that will help you to grow to love God more, deeper, and so that then you will learn unconditional love. Kasi unconditional love naman cannot be learned overnight, okay? It's something that you build up more and more in your life. Alam mo na, natauhan yung, oh no, here I am, I'm praying for somebody to love me unconditionally, but how am I growing in my life? So that's a good thing to do. So whatever it is that we sow, we will reap. If we are not sowing love, then what are we sowing? Okay. If we are not sowing spirituality, or rather, if we are not, sowing spirituality, then what are we sowing? Are we sowing materialism? Are we sowing worldliness? So it's something for us to think lang dahil babalik rin sa atin ito eh. What we sow, we will reap. And then on the part of being godly when we are cheated, how do we respond? There were a number of times, and I'm sure many of you had gone through this, when people would borrow money from you and not pay back. Diba? I remember an incident where a brother and I had to lend money to someone in need, which was fine. And I remember si John Rigardo would tell us, if you're going to lend money, then might as well think that it will not go back anymore. It's something that you have just given already. So that's the kind of attitude that he was teaching us. Because otherwise, if you don't have that kind of attitude, you will be disappointed. And how are you going to respond when you have been cheated? So yun lang mga kapatid. I just wanted to share that to everybody. Just an insight from what we have just read right now. I don't think what we sow, we will reap. And secondly, how must I respond when things do not go my way, or even when I am cheated? How must I respond? Should I respond with hatred and anger? Should I shun people for that? Or should I be like Jesus saying, forgive 70 times 7? Diba? So ganun ba yun? Wow. So that's it. That's our short quiet time for today.